Good night, viewers. Here are tonight's stories. Attorneys are demanding accountability from the Guyana police force following a controversial operation, while a wanted bulletin has been issued for Dennis Grant over dangerous driving. UNAIDS is calling for urgent action on rising HIV rates among Caribbean youth. In other news, 20 Venezuelans face charges for illegal fishing in Guyana's waters, and police are investigating the robbery and fatal shooting of 61-year-old Aubrey Richardson. An alleged fraud case involving a worker's house in Marienburg is also under investigation, and a suspect is hospitalized following a domestic violence incident. Stay tuned for more on these stories. Police investigating robbery and fatal shooting of 61-year-old Aubrey Richardson. The Guyana police force is actively investigating the fatal shooting of Aubrey Richardson, a 61-year-old resident of Kuru Kuru, Soesdijk Linden Highway. Richardson succumbed to his injuries on September 5, 2024, at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, GPHC, following a robbery that occurred on August 24, 2024, at a shop in Yarrowcabra. According to the victim's daughter, Felicia Adams, Richardson was at the shop with friends when the incident took place. He had picked up a friend visiting from Lethem and stopped at the shop to purchase dal puri for the following day. While there, they were engaged in conversation with the shop owner. A person reportedly entered the shop to buy cigarettes and exited, only to return moments later and issue a threatening command from behind Richardson, saying, "Don't move." Unaware of the imminent danger and recognizing the voice, Richardson reportedly responded in a joking manner, after which he was shot in the back. Following the shooting, four suspects robbed the shop owner, stealing a box of jewelry and an undisclosed amount of cash. Richardson was not searched during the robbery. After being shot, Richardson was rushed to the Diamond Hospital and later transferred to GPHC, where he was admitted to the Intensive Care Unit, ICU. Despite undergoing emergency surgery, doctors were unable to remove the bullet lodged in his back, and his spleen had to be removed due to severe internal damage, which also affected his pancreas. Richardson's family has expressed frustration with the police response to the case, describing it as slow and lacking in urgency. According to Adams, the police have yet to make any arrests, and those present at the time of the shooting have stated they are unable to identify the suspects. Additionally, Adams noted that no formal public report was issued by the police following the incident, which is unusual for a case of this nature. The Guyana police force is urging anyone with information related to this crime to come forward as they continue their efforts to apprehend those responsible for the robbery and fatal shooting of Aubrey Richardson. Attorneys demand accountability from Guyana police following controversial operation. News source Guyana reports lawyers representing rights activist Melissa Atwell, known as Melly Mel, and her mother have formally reached out to the acting police commissioner to seek clarity on a recent police operation conducted at the home of Atwell's mother. In a statement, the police indicated that the operation was executed based on intelligence regarding suspected drug activity. Although no drugs were found within the home or yard, authorities later claimed to have discovered less than 1 ounce of marijuana in a plastic bag located in an alleyway outside the premises. In their letter to the acting police commissioner, the attorneys assert that the police's actions constitute trespass and infringe upon the rights of their clients. They further argue that the operation appears to be an attempt to intimidate and silence Atwell due to her outspoken criticisms of the government and the Guyana police force. The attorneys have demanded a detailed account of the factual and legal justifications for the search, including any documentary evidence that informed the police's actions. The acting police commissioner has been given a 48-hour window to respond to this request. Should he fail to do so, the attorneys have indicated that they will pursue legal action against the state of Guyana. The Atwell family is being represented by a distinguished team of attorneys, including Roysdale Ford SC, Nigel Hughes, Joe Harmon, Dexter Todd, Darren Wade, UC Anderson, Narissa Leander, and Iana Butts. Police investigate alleged fraud case involving sale of workers' house in Marienburg. The Surinamese police are actively investigating a fraud case involving the alleged illegal sale of a state-owned workers' house in Marienburg. The suspect, identified as Savitri Persaud, reportedly deceived 2 victims by claiming ownership of the house and collecting payments from them. According to reports, Persaud informed the victims that she planned to emigrate to Guyana and offered them the opportunity to move into the house in exchange for covering supposed renovation costs. She falsely promised that the house would then belong to them. However, the house in question is property of the state of Suriname, and Persaud had no legal right to sell or rent it. One victim, Jasmine, told Watercont.net that she paid Persaud 59,000 SRD to secure permanent residence in the house. After receiving the payment, Persaud became unreachable, and Jasmine later discovered that she had left for Guyana. Another victim reportedly paid Persaud nearly 50,000 SRD under similar false pretenses. The police in Marienburg are conducting an active investigation and are working to track down and arrest Persaud, who is believed to have emigrated to Guyana. The Surinamese police urge anyone with information about this case to come forward and assist with the investigation. Police respond to domestic violence incident. Suspect hospitalized after altercation. A 32-year-old construction worker, Jermaine Haynes, from Little Diamond squatting area, East Bank Demerara, is currently hospitalized after being shot by police officers responding to a domestic violence report involving his wife. The report was received by the Regional Division 4B Operations Room, prompting the dispatch of 2 armed police constables to the location. Upon arrival, the officers made contact with the 33-year-old wife of the suspect, who was taking refuge at a neighbor's residence. The woman informed the ranks that her husband had assaulted her by slapping her, breaking a table, and issuing threats to her life, which led her to flee the home. Officers then proceeded to the couple's residence, where they were confronted by an enraged Jermaine Haynes. During the altercation, Haynes attempted to disarm one of the officers by seizing his firearm. In response, the second officer discharged 2 rounds from his service pistol, striking the suspect in the lower right leg. Haynes was immediately subdued, arrested, and transported to the Diamond Diagnostic Center, where he is receiving medical treatment under police guard. The police investigation into the incident is ongoing. 20 Venezuelans charged with illegal fishing in Guyana's waters. 20 Venezuelan nationals appeared in the Georgetown Magistrates Court this week, facing charges of illegal fishing in Guyana's exclusive economic zone, EEZ, in the Atlantic Ocean. The accused were apprehended between August 20th and September 5, 2024, while allegedly fishing in waters near Georgetown. The Guyana Defense Force, GDF, Coast Guard discovered the 2 Venezuelan registered vessels operating 82 nautical miles offshore, with fishing lines deployed at a depth of approximately 180 feet. Communication attempts via very high-frequency VHF radio were unsuccessful, prompting the Coast Guard to board the vessels. Upon investigation, a total of 20 crew members, including 2 captains, were detained. The captains failed to produce the necessary documentation, and the vessels were found with a significant amount of fresh fish. The Venezuelans, including Captains Gregorio Antonio Figversa and Degri Jose Mata Vicente, were charged under the Maritime Zones Act for the unlawful exploitation of resources within Guyana's EEZ. All 20 men pled guilty to the charges and were fined $300,000 each. In addition, Figversa was fined $1 million or a 2-year prison sentence for operating a foreign fishing vessel without a valid license, while Vicente, who pled not guilty, is due to return to court on October 9, 2024. During the court proceedings, the fishermen claimed that a local company had provided them with permission to fish in the area. One fisherman expressed frustration, stating that they had been fishing in the same waters for years under the guidance of the local company, and this was the first time they had faced legal issues. The investigation into the involvement of the local company is ongoing. UNAIDS calls for urgent action on rising HIV rates among Caribbean youth. The Joint United Nations Program on HIV/AIDS UNAIDS has expressed serious concern over the increasing proportion of new HIV infections among young people in the Caribbean, urging further investigation and targeted intervention. According to UNAIDS, the percentage of new HIV cases among youth ranges from 14% in Suriname and Guyana to as high as 37% in Barbados. Dr. Richard A. Menya, UNAIDS multi-country director for Belize, Barbados, Guyana, Jamaica, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, and the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, highlighted the alarming trend. HIV among young people remains a significant public health concern, as the decline in new infections among adolescents and youth has not been rapid enough to effectively control the epidemic, Dr. Amenya said. Globally, young people aged 15 to 24 years accounted for 28% of new HIV infections in 2023. In the Caribbean, young people comprised 27% of the region's 15,000 new infections in 2023, up from 15% in 2020. Dr. Amenya emphasized that these statistics threaten global efforts to end AIDS as a public health threat by 2030. The situation for children and adolescents is equally concerning. As of 2023, 2.38 million children and adolescents aged 0 to 19 years were living with HIV worldwide. Of the 630,000 people who died from AIDS-related illnesses last year, 90,000, 14%, were children and youth under the age of 20. While new HIV infections among children aged 0 to 14 and adolescents aged 15 to 19 have declined since 2000, progress has stalled in recent years. A particularly vulnerable group is adolescent girls aged 15 to 24, who accounted for 71% of new infections among adolescents in 2023. In regions such as East Asia, the Pacific, Latin America, and the Caribbean, 2/3 of new infections among adolescents, ages 10 to 19, were among boys. Additionally, 25% of all pregnant women living with HIV globally are between the ages of 15 and 24. Dr. Amenya called for a renewed focus on early diagnosis, treatment, and prevention efforts to address the growing disparity in HIV infections among young people. If we are to achieve the goal of ending AIDS as a public health threat by 2030, immediate and sustained efforts must be made to address the needs of young people in the Caribbean and globally. Wanted bulletin issued for Dennis Grant. The Guyana police force is seeking public assistance in locating Dennis Grant, a suspect wanted for dangerous and wanton driving in connection with an incident that resulted in harm to victim Hyoji Kim. Grant, born on May 17, 1974, was last known to reside at Lot 38C, Field Sophia in Greater Georgetown. The offense occurred on July 17, 2024, on James Singh Road. Authorities encourage anyone with information regarding Grant's whereabouts to come forward, as community cooperation is essential for ensuring safety and delivering justice for the victim. If you have any information, please contact the Guyana Police Force or visit the nearest police station. Thank you for your support in this matter.